You know what? I still don't know if I have a good voice. It's an interesting voice to me, I suppose. But yeah, no, I wasn't singing in the bush being like, "Whoa, this is so good." I was definitely really shy.
Hi, welcome back to the show. It's been over a year since our last interview. Today's guest is Aysanabee. He's an Oji-Cree JUNO Award-winning singer-songwriter from Toronto. He has such a stunning voice. His debut album, Watin, was released in 2023. It's about his grandfather and his experiences being in residential schools. Fast forward to now, he's back with his deluxe EP of Here and Now and a new single called Edge of the Earth. Touring with the likes of Alison Russell and Dan Mangan, he is on his first headline tour across Canada with stops in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Halifax, and more. During my conversation with him, we talked about music, gas station snacks, and tour, of course. No stranger in no window seat, no humming words on a crowded street, walking to the edge of the earth in the still and thought of you. Nice to meet you again.
Hey, you as well. You as well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. To begin, what is a fun fact about yourself that you'd like to share with everyone?
You know what? I don't. I grew up in the bush without electricity. It's my musical origin, I guess.
I heard that you started writing music with your cousin's guitar, right?
No, it's my brother. My
Your
brother
brother's
moved.
guitar.
Yeah, yeah. He moved to the city to go to school and he left a guitar. Yeah, you know what? I just started playing it. I grew up in the country, so I think my nearest friend was like maybe 10 kilometers away. And for some reason, all I had was a trick bike.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the trick bikes, but they don't have gear shifters. So like when you're going up a steep hill on a trick bike, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
this usually walking it up it. But yeah, so that's where I played guitar, just one of the things like me busy in the forest.
Did you like know that you had a good voice back then, or did it take time to like discover it?
You know what? I still don't know if I have a good voice. It's an interesting voice to me, I suppose. But yeah, no, I wasn't singing in the bush being like, "Whoa, this is so good." I was definitely really shy. I was really shy and nervous to play in front of people. So that's like I moved out of my mom's house into the camper in the backyard where I could
Mhm.
sing where no one I thought no one could hear me. My mom later told me she was able to hear me. So
Amazing. I mean, moms are your biggest fans, so she was probably enjoying every bit of it.
hopefully.
Hopefully. Do you remember what your first song sounded like?
That is a very good question. It probably sounded like someone's first song, I imagine. It's still kind of like one of those things. Like even with where I'm at now, I feel like you still write like 20 songs before you're like, ooh, this one's really interesting.
Right. And what's that like elimination process like when it's either like your next single or even an album?
You know what? I've gotten better at taking advice and support too, because definitely I think artists are their own worst critics. I'll listen to a bunch and be like, oh, these ones are like, I like these ones a little bit. I feel like this needs work, or maybe this needs something. But it's really good because, like, maybe a little bit of that positive reinforcement kind of helps too. Because, yeah, like I said, I can be my own worst critic. So it's like, it's nice when, like, the team is like, no, this is a really good song, actually, like the way it is. And I'm just like, you're right. Because I can definitely sit on a song for years if nobody stops me.
Yeah, exactly. Then again, that comes to the conversation of like, when do you know a song is done? Because you could just be working on a song forever and there's always something to change about it.
I think definitely a balance of a bunch of things. Like if it's a very time limited song like that is about something current, then it's like you gotta finish it or not put it out. I've gotten a little bit easier on myself with that, with just writing songs and bringing them to a place where I enjoy them. But yeah, you can definitely on a song forever. So I think what I'm trying to say is every song that you write as an artist is like kind of a snapshot of who you were in that moment. So you can't just keep I still am a true believer that like, your best work is always yet to come because you're always growing, you're always evolving. So like these are just little breadcrumbs of where you've been.
Yeah.
And I'm always excited that there's an audience to kind of follow the trail and come with me on that.
1,000%. Your new single, Edge of the Earth, is amazing. What was the first musical element to come for this song?
Play the guitar, but it wasn't quite as like picky as it was at the start. It was more just kind of like a quick finger picking kind of two chord James Bay kind of like how James Bay always does those two chords. But it started with that, and then we were just singing and stuff. But it started actually with a conversation because I wrote that song with my buddy Sean Soroka and Derek Hoffman, and like I feel like we have this tradition now of getting together in the winter and just catching up. Seems to be when we're not ships in the night, and we can actually like sit down together and we'll usually just have a coffee or tea or something and just talk for 2 hours, and then we start writing from there. So it's almost like a year's worth of downloading information and talking and trying to make art out of it.
Amazing. What was the process like watching it grow from just the guitar into this whole production-based song?
I think we had two other ideas we were working on and then just came upon this one. And this just, we really connected with this one more. And it definitely was just chords. Like I think we had like the verse and the chorus, and then we were just kind of just started to do some production work on it, and that started getting us excited. I think as the song gets bigger and bigger, like it's always super exciting, right? Like to hear it from like its roots to suddenly growing these wings is always such an interesting process. It's interesting releasing it now though. Like I said, like when you write the song, it's like a snapshot of this moment in time, and it was like this song that was written like last winter, and so I think me and Sean and Derek are due to get in studio and do another catch up. But I think there was just this moment because like the last song we'd written together was actually somebody else. That was like a full catch up. So those two songs are kind of somewhat interconnected and a bit in the same vein, but kind of different too. Because like after we were talking, they're like, "Wow, it seems like you've been a lot of places, and it seems like you're having a lot of really like introspective experiences, and it sounds like you're actually doing pretty good." And then just reflecting on that, I was like, you know what, I am doing. You know what, like I'm like I feel like where I'm supposed to be, and I feel like I'm on a good path, and there's this kind of calmness to that. To feel like I'm going towards somewhere I want to be. I always felt like I was in like this constant state of fight or flight, like always like just surviving, and I feel like that's just like, everybody in general right now. But there's this calmness about it. We just put pen to paper and wrote from that space. But it's interesting coming like a year later. You know, so much has happened in this year
Yeah.
even with music, but just in the world in general. Like, so this calmness is kind of subsiding a little bit with
Yeah.
all the politics and all everything in society right now. It's like getting me back into like, oh, okay, there's more battles to be fought and more words to be spoken, and I'm really excited at how that one kind of turned out, and it is like very beautiful to be able to kind of listen to these songs and kind of reflect on those points and those really kind of integral moments of growing as an artist.
For sure. To go a bit deeper into Aysanabé's discography, I guess you could say, you also recently released your Here Now Deluxe EP, which
Mhm.
comes with a few more songs, including a cover of Lana Del Rey's video games with Ruby Waters. First of all, how did you two connect to begin with?
Oh, well, I knew about her music for a while. Like I love the sound of her voice. I love the music. I remember she was doing a tour and I was like, man, I would love to go on the road with her. And so I told my agent and they reached out. I think she came back, she's like, yeah, like Ruby loves your music as well, and but she just wants to make sure like you're a good hang because like, you know, the whole ecosystem of being on a tour together is very important. And I totally get that.
7%.
And so we were playing the Phoenix concert hall for the Indie 88 like sock hop.
Mhm.
Like it's a fundraiser in Toronto during the holidays. And we both played it and we both hung out and I was like to know each other. And we ended up hanging out like at a tattoo parlor until like 8 in the morning. And then like a couple days later, my agent's like, yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but you know, I guess you're a good hang. You're going on tour with Ruby. And so I ended up going on the road with her for like 2 weeks or something like that. And we just really got to know each other and really got to enjoy each other's company and become friends. We ended up in a writing camp before as well, like, or after that too. We actually did write another song, which I still need to dig back to that because I think it's a really good song, but it's one of those things. Anyways, so flash forward, Amazon had reached out for us to kind of do a collaboration, and like we've been meaning to do a collaboration for a while, so this like really gave us like a good motivation to do it. I don't know, we were going through a bunch of songs, to be completely honest. Like I think like at one point Ruby had was like, what do you think about like doing Home by like Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros? And we were just going through all the things that we really like, musicians we really love and songs that we really like. And I think Video Games was just this beautiful nostalgic song. My older sibling used to like listen to it quite a bit, and so it's like there's just nostalgia attached to it, attached to my youth, that whole process and the way we stripped it back. And Derek Hoffman also produced it, and we were all working together. And Derek's like, okay, we can do it, but I'm not doing another piano version of the song. Everybody does a piano version of this song. And so it was like very guitar forward, which that's me and Ruby's main instrument anyway. So yeah, it was really awesome to be able to work with her and put that out.
I was trying to think of the first time I saw you live because I was like, it wasn't the Dan Mangan or even Oshiaga. I was like, I've seen you before. It was Ruby Waters. For some reason, it slipped my mind.
Mm. Yeah, the bar Ritz, the bar
Yeah.
Ritz.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I love that stage.
Mhm.
And I got to play there too with Honora, who's another Montreal-based artist. We wrote this song actually, and we performed it. We wrote the song the day before that show and performed it like on that stage. But yeah, some good times. I love Montreal. It's such a cool art city.
You are currently on tour, which is super exciting. Your first headline tour. How's it been so far?
It's been incredible. Like I started in the north. I did that one by myself. It's like kind of it's a huge slog to get up there, but like it was very special. That's where I'm from. That's where it all began for me. So like I remember being, kind of cheesed when like people would like announce their tours and no one would come up there, and going up there and playing 6 shows to start the tour in these small communities. Like it was really eye-opening. It was really precious. These arts communities, they do so much with so little, and it's really volunteer driven. So these are people who are like super super passionate about creating these spaces and these moments for their community. So like getting up there and getting to be a part of that was special. And like some people came from so far. Like I played in Red Lake, was the furthest north for that part, and that's not even that north, to be honest. I mean, it's like 27-hour drive north from Toronto, but like there's a lot of communities further north than that. But that is the community that has the furthest traffic light in Ontario.
Wow.
And like people came from like 500 kilometers to see me play it. Like people drove through the ice roads. Those were moments where I was just like, yeah, you know what? This is special to be up there, and amazing humans. Like we went into the ditch only once,
Yeah.
and so many people came by and checked in on us, and ambulance came, checked in, and the fire trucks, like all of them came, and then the police came. I must have been like a slow day in Ear Falls, Ontario, but like everybody came to check in on us, and it was really nice.
Lovely. You also have shows coming up in Montreal. You're ending it in Toronto. You're going to Halifax. And for this tour, you're inviting Indigenous artists to open for you. What is the process like choosing the artists?
It was actually quite difficult too, because like there were so many great musicians who applied, and obviously like the bigger metropolitan areas. Some of the more remote places were a bit tougher to find people, because people were down to travel. But like I said, like I went in the ditch. I wasn't about to like make someone drive like so many kilometers to get to a gig. But it's been really nice, and it's been really cool to see how excited people have been getting. And I got to go on the road with Sarah Kay in the north, and musician. She's a journalist. She's a teacher. She's 25, I think, and like she does all these things, right? It's really cool just to get to meet other artists and people who have similar kind of backgrounds too, and just being able to share space and share insight and just get to know these people and kind of start building this next wave, this next community of musicians that are coming up. Kind of think of like the Marvel universe, and it's like you're meeting all these different musicians who have all these different powers and stuff. You can definitely quote that, because like I'm having like an idea with that concept for how to bookend this whole tour and how to like create a memento out of it.
One of the Marvel characters is CB. They're opening for your Montreal show. How did you find their music?
I'm trying to remember exactly where I'm at CB. Because I saw them sing through the Sikihiwe Festival. Alan Greas puts on the Sikihiwe Festival. Like we didn't play the festival, but he also organized this Indigenous songwriters camp, and that's where I met CB and really took a deep dive into their music. Blown away by their voice. Like they have such an incredible, powerful voice. They're such a great human. Their writing is so good, and the way they make songs is so like contemporary and amazing and elevated. And I'm a huge fan of their music. I did announce them for Lavaltrie as well, but they actually we're double booked.
Oh
They're
no.
they're they're doing a folk alliance,
Yeah,
so we will be announcing a new opener for that show. But CB will still be in there for Montreal.
amazing.
She wrote a song together too, and it was super funny because we had never met before. We were just writing the song. It was me, CB, Sunsetto, and this really nice producer from Kilometer Music Group. And I remember we're writing, and CB's just like, I just want to make a sexy song. And we're like, all right. And she's just like, let's just break the ice, okay? And we're like, okay, sure. And she's like, everyone just scream vagina with me. Let's get this awkwardness out of the way and let's just scream vagina. And so like I think other people in the other studios probably heard us because like we probably screamed it like probably 15 times, right? And it was just like vagina. But she's like, it's gotta be louder than that. It's gotta be top of your lungs, loud, everyone together. And we were just like screaming vagina. And yeah, that's like a core moment of just CB just being CB and this like awesome, hilarious human being.
What a great way to break the ice,
Yeah,
honestly. Those,
yeah.
what is a gas station snack that you will never touch?
Those packaged hamburgers. Sometimes you get hungry and you're on the road, and I'm like, I'm almost about to buy one, but I'm like, I don't know. There's something about a
Yeah.
pre-made hamburger wrapped up that I have to throw in a microwave. You know, I haven't tried it. Something keeps holding me back. Self-respect.
Yeah,
No, just kidding, just kidding. I'm actually very tempted to get one because I'm like, it might taste pretty good, but yeah, that's one thing that I haven't dabbled in yet.
Okay, amazing. When that happens, though, you have to post it so I know that you've tried it.
Like, okay, will do.
We were up north somewhere in Quebec, and there was lasagna in a
Mm.
gas station. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Was it homemade though?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
how long it's been there or anything, but lasagna.
Oh.
Yeah, it was surprising.
Yeah.
And I have one last question for you. What are you currently listening to?
Still a lot of Ida Diaz. I've still been obsessed with her since I saw her play in Manchester. I've been listening to a lot of the artists like I've been announcing. I have been loving Sebastian Gaskin's music, but I mean, I feel like because I know him as well, like I'm always excited to kind of see these different sides of him. So his music's super sweet. Then delving back into the Matt Corby, and there's like a few Australian bands I've been listening to a lot. There's like Boo Sika and the Dregs. I was always very inspired by a ton of Australian artists growing up. Got a ton of artists that I still pump quite frequently, like the Teskey Brothers, who are playing the same night as me in Toronto. So I'm like,
No. If you cancel your show, we know why.
no. But I've actually been listening to more Kim Churchill than normal too, because I was on tour with him for a month. There's certain songs like Flying Solo, which is just like the most wholesome song ever, but also the most Kim Churchill song ever. So when I do listen to it, like I am reminded of just like cruising around in his van and like swimming in rivers with him on this tour. Like if you listen to the song Flying Solo, it's like very folky, but very like your head does that, but it's like very wholesome.
Amazing. Well, it was so great to see you again. I am so excited to see you in Montreal. Again, you're headed to Toronto, Nova Scotia, Ottawa, you name it. He'll probably be there. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.